Hello, beautiful souls. I am Millette, your host for a wonderful new series, much needed at this time in our world, and created by my spiritually enlightened, gifted mentor and loving friend titled, Look Behind the Curtain, Follow Your Yellow Lit Road to Find Your Truth and Set You Free. This amazing series will gift you the truth, wisdom, tools, and so much more to help you get the connection, help heal, become more aware, and grow you into a higher and authentic loving being with your soul's unique and one-of-a-kind GPS while you're on this earth to take you as far as you want to grow. I have been on this path for the last 3 years with her, and I'm so blessed to have this beautiful, loving soul and friend as a mentor. My gift to her is to create this podcast and to help her get her heart-called message out to those ready to hear it. My heart has opened in a way I didn't know was even possible and is still opening as I do the healing work on my yellow lit road and continue to use the tools given by her to go deeper and higher. The blessings, synchronicities, love, compassion, patience, and so much more have been mind-blowing since we started working together. I truly am becoming more aware, authentic, and feeling more love for myself and others, and growing into who God created me to be, compared to my limited, critical, judgmental, and easy to anger self as I was being before. With that said, let me introduce the most enlightened, loving, compassionate, wisest soul I've ever met, and is not only my mentor, but my first friend who I can honestly say has given me unconditional love and has lifted me higher, holding me in her light always on this journey to help me uncover my true self. This beautiful soul is a mystic, born aware, way shower, intuitive, and a spiritual warrior who loves and wants to enrich anyone ready to dive into connecting to their higher God self. With 48 years of being a true seeker, she feels so called to help humanity to now share it with you. All she asks of you to receive these gifts, always freely given, is to be open-minded. Take only what resonates deep within you, as you should with everything, and have a passionate desire to know and want to grow, doing the work so you will. With that being said, I joyfully want to introduce to you my precious, loving, beautiful teacher and friend, Diane.
Thank you, Millette. That was so beautiful. And welcome, all you wonderful souls. This is new for me, and I'm just hoping that I can get the message that I want to get out today. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of my background so you'll know where I've been and how I got to where I am today. I really believe I was born aware because I had a first memory when I was very young in my crib when my father, I think I was only like 5 months old, maybe 6 months old, couldn't stand or anything, obviously. And I was laying in my crib with my little, side, rails up. And half of the crib was, on the side of the wallpaper. And I can remember the wallpaper to this day, what color it was. And, flowers and lilac colors. I know that now. But at the time, I was aware because I had this beautiful, experience. And it was my dad who was tickling my nose with my sock, my little baby sock, and I didn't know what it was. I just felt this tickle on my nose, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I opened my eyes, and there's this beautiful, shining light of love standing over my crib at the head of my crib, waking me up so gently and lovingly. And it was like my first experience of love. I just felt all this love. So I guess I could say I was born aware because that's a pretty old, message to come from a kid who was only like 5 months old. And anyway, so that's how, I started. And as I grew up as a child, I love nature. I love sitting out in my dad's, arms on the porch and watching, the stars and the lightning and the rain and all the different things that, are out there in the sky. And I used to play, with the lightning bugs, put them in a little jar, poke in the hole so they could breathe and then let them out later. So I always had a real affinity for nature. And as I grew up, I just was different. I wasn't your typical child, and there was no religion or any kind of belief in my family, and I just always had a connection to animals and everything, and nobody else did. I was the only one. I would always come home with a new animal. My mom swore I took hot dogs and dropped them, from school and had them lead dogs back to my house. And I go, no, Mom, they just followed me. So it was always about animals and nature and people and friends, and I was just always just a really caring person. And so I started to see, as I grew older, different beliefs around me, people celebrating Christmas, and we were celebrating Hanukkah, and, it was just so different, and I kind of wanted to know more about what they were celebrating Christmas for, and I was learning, and I wanted to learn about Jesus because I didn't really understand, and I was always inquisitive about why that was that they were celebrating this and had this belief, and we didn't. And my mom would say, "Oh, he was a great man, but we don't have anything to do with it other than that." So I think that kind of put me on a little bit of a mission to find out more about this. And in my 20s, I think I was like mid-20s, there was a knock on my door when I had, moved into my first apartment. And they were inviting me, these two people with this little Bible in their arms saying, would you like to come to, learn about the Bible and blah, blah, blah. And of course I did. And I went, and I spent a year and a half learning everything about the Bible that they were teaching. It was like we'd do it all the time, 3 times a week Bible study, and we'd be they'd send us out to knock on doors to, invite more people, to the church. And it was just this big group of people that were just like a family, which I didn't have that connection in my family mostly. I didn't have the healthiest of families. And I just felt connected to them, but I did not feel connected to the message of the preacher. And I was always raising my hand and asking questions. Well, they didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. So I just felt like I couldn't, if I couldn't get an answer, there's something wrong here. My intuition would just tell me something's not right. And so I was just didn't even know I was, but I was a seeker because I really wanted to know God. I really wanted to find out all the mysteries that, were around me with nature, with the stars, with the universe, what's out there. I just had all these questions. And so I was constantly asking, and I finally, realized after a year and a half I couldn't get the answers. I didn't never feel connected to God there, even though they told me if I left I'd go to hell and God would not be with me. I took my chances, and I said, well, I'll deal with that because I didn't even believe in hell at the beginning. And then finally when they put that fear into me and made me feel guilty, I left and I had tears in my eyes writing a letter one night. And it was raining out there and coming down really fast and hard, and I was crying, and my tears were falling down my face and hitting the paper. So I was writing a letter to say goodbye to them because I just couldn't do it. It's like God doesn't like lukewarm. It doesn't like you sitting on one side of the fence and not being on the other. You have to either go in completely or get out, is what they made me feel. So I didn't think I had God, and I was like praying anyway, just in case he didn't give up on me yet, and asked him for a little more time, please, and let me enjoy my life again, because it was like I was a robot in that church, and I just lost myself to whatever they wanted me to be. So it ended up that I started feeling comforted by the rain. It was almost like God was there with me, saying, you're gonna be okay, like I got your back, type of thing. And that's when my spiritual path just began. So I, ended up in a metaphysical church down the road and continued for that. I had to completely learn different things about the Bible that I didn't learn from them. It, to me, was a spiritual book. It wasn't a literal book. And I just learned to see it in a different perspective, and I could appreciate it more because the things I learned from the Bible, I could make sense of it, in a metaphysical way, beyond the physical. So my learning about, Christ consciousness and all the stuff that, is always meant to be within you, is never outside of you. It was never meant to be worshiping on a cross. The message never got clear. And the only reason I learned all of this is because I was a seeker. And what I'm sharing with you about going behind the curtain or looking behind the curtain, just like in The Wizard of Oz, she would have never known that wizard was a total fraud if she didn't, question it. And she already had her truth within, but she didn't know that until she questioned it. It's a very, very beautiful spiritual movie before its time. And following her yellow brick road to get there, only to find out that she didn't even have to, do that. But this is different. This is now showing you that without really being a true seeker is someone who really wants to put God first in their life, and then everything else will be added on to it. God wants that kind of seeker, because that's the kind of seeker that's going to make this world a better place, that's going to make your life better, and it's going to bring happiness, joy, and all the blessings that you were gifted with. So I encourage you in this, this first podcast that we're having is to really, if you're going to be here with me, there's going to be gifts coming at the end that I'm going to give you. If there is somebody that's left that wants help, I'm going to give that to you. But I want only true seekers that are really going to be, interested, and they will be with me towards the end. If I happen to plant a seed or two for someone who just stops by and listens to it for a few minutes and then takes that seed and maybe someday it'll blossom and grow, that's okay too. I can't tell you anything but other than what I've experienced in my own life. And I've had tons and tons of miracles and blessings and synchronicities and beyond the physical, flashbacks to past lives, spontaneous healings, connection to nature, to plants, to animals, everything you can imagine, and then some. And I might share those along the way if you're interested in it and you want to leave a comment. If you have questions, I want to hear in the comment section what kind of audience I'm attracting, since this is all new to both of us. We're just trying to put it out there because the world needs it so much today. They need your light. And if you can leave some messages, I'll try and, or some questions, I can try and get back to you, some of the questions that would resonate with most of the people that are going to be leaving any. And basically, if you can just start with really, really looking at what you were taught, what you might not really think is the truth, if you just are open to really asking and seeking for the truth, it'll be revealed, and we're going to go deeper, but it will be revealed, but you have to listen to the small voice within you, because that's how God speaks to you, through your intuition, through your gut feeling, through your knowing that's already planted in you, and through everything that was promised, the kingdom within. It's all there. It's all there for you. You have to just tap into it, and I'm going to help you do that. So for now, I want you to just take your thoughts and go back and see all these limited thoughts that are coming from your head. They're not from the kingdom of God. If they're not pure love and happiness and joy, and they're limited things you're feeling about yourself, or limited fears that you have, or limited ideas, anything that's unlike love is not the truth about you. You are planted with the seed of God and the love and spark of light that God created, and it lives within you. It's called your higher self. You can call it your God self. You can call it Christ consciousness. It's all the same thing. Super conscious, whatever you want to call it, God doesn't care, because it's all within you. It's all meant for you to figure it out. And it's going to be your truth, not my truth, but it's the truth, and that's your truth. I'm just sharing my truth, and I want you to share your truth someday. So I want you to have the blessings that I've had and the incredible life that I've had by seeking. So if you want to know God, it's out there. Don't do it just because you want the blessings. Do it because you really want to have God and have source connection, because there's nothing better than that. It's not religion. It's just the true birthright of you. It's your soul. And your soul, if your soul is resonating with any of this message, just take what resonates, and if it doesn't resonate with other stuff yet, and it's too much above where you're at, or you're not quite ready for it, just put it aside. As long as it doesn't, make you feel scared or anything, just put it aside, and then explore the fear that you have, or the things that are not of God that you might have bought into with fear and guilt and shame from religions, because that's how they control the masses. They don't really all have the truth. They have parts of the truth, and they have changed things away, taken out of the Bible, the Old Testament, and changed things because they really want to keep you in their grip and the control. If they really wanted you to know the truth, it's out there. You can explore it and see it. It'll tell you. It's always been within you. You don't need someone to tell you about it. You need someone to get you to go within to get to your truth. And that's what I'm choosing to do. So I hope that somehow we can get through this. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to see if I can answer some. So don't hesitate to do that. And if you can, start looking at pulling back the curtain and looking at the things you were taught. Because if this resonates with your soul, then you are ready to take a journey. And how far you take it is up to you. The true seekers will be here till the end, and then they'll continue on their journey. So I pray that, I'm getting some message out that lands on some of you, and I hope the majority of you, and I hope to talk to you, not talk to you in person, but I hope to have another podcast that'll be coming up, and we're going to talk about the ego versus the heart. So until this next podcast, drop into your heart, listen to the smaller voice. The bigger voice is coming from the mind and the mind chatter and the ego, and that's not where God resides. It's in the heart. So stay in the heart for now. Listen to your heart and listen to its calling. And we'll talk to you the next time we have the next podcast, which I think will be probably a week from now. Anyway, bless you all, and thank you for being here. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Diane. That was lovely. And I hope that you tune in to our next episode. As Diane mentioned, she is willing and more than willing to help everyone she can on this journey through the message she wants to bring forth. She's been of great help to me. And that first topic, too, of ego versus mind is something that I've actually had to work on, and integrating the two and really understanding what ego meant, because sometimes we have a negative association with what does ego really mean. So she'll go into that. She'll explain it. And I feel like you'll have some clarity as to, oh, okay, it's not as bad as it seems. I just need to learn and really integrate the two so that the heart is leading and the mind can accept that. Because it's been work in progress for me. So until next time, you have a great week, and we will chat with you soon.